Hi, friends. Happy Friday, gorgeous coaches. I don't know if you can hear that noise, but as you know, we're renovating our house and there's some people working on the house at the moment. So hopefully it won't be too noisy. And just because of that, I'm keeping today's live quite short. So I'm excited to share with you a couple of takeaway tips that you can go off and implement in your business and in your content straight away, which is all around cultivating expert status. So say hi as you jump on. Let me know what you're up to today. If you catch the replay, say hi as well. Hey, Kristen, good to see you. It started raining this last week in Queensland, and every time I brush my hair, it's just like going so buffy. So I've just had to throw it up in a messy bun today. Hi, Sally, good to see you. And the other thing is I'm getting a sunspot burnt off my nose and it's gone all like red. So paranoid. Hi, it's good to see you guys. So anyway, no one cares about my hair and nose. So today is all about, hello, I'm here. So good to see you. Hi, Sally. So good to see you guys here. I'm excited. So I've been having quite a few content intensives over the past week, and this conversation's come up a few times, and I thought it was really important to share this because it's something that I've seen some other examples that have just reminded me of it too. So I thought it was a great topic to chat about. So it's all about how to cultivate expert status through your content, right? So what does that mean is like being seen. I was thinking about this in terms of like, for example, like a general practitioner doctor versus like a brain surgeon. Okay. Like one's a specialist, and like if I've got problems or need brain surgery, like I want to be seen by the brain surgeon, right? I don't want to be seen by a GP who's kind of across everything on some level, but not at the level of like being a specialist in that area. And I think we can apply that to our business too. We want to be seen as really an expert in our area of expertise, not kind of like a generalist coach who can work with people across a whole bunch of other things, because that's when you start to stand out. That's when you're seen as an expert. That's when you become a leader in your niche. And that's when people are beating down your door. Because people say to me all the time, like, I want to work with a coach who only works with coaches because you get our industry, versus like, I don't necessarily work with graphic designers and people that do web design and all these different services. So people know that I'm going to know that level of like what's really applicable for coaches, right? So that's just a specific example. So I wanted to tell you how you can go about doing this. So couple of quick tips that you can take away and think about and start implementing in your business. And of course, I love interaction. So if you've got questions, comments, throw them all in there. I'd love to hear them. So what triggered this for me? So I was scrolling the old Instagram a week or two ago, and someone I follow, I just noticed her feed and I was clicking in there, having a look, and something about it really jarred with me. I felt really like, oh, this doesn't feel right. And I, investigated why I was feeling that way. And it was really interesting because she called herself like a holistic life coach, I think, something quite general. But she seems to focus a lot on like exercise, nutrition, self-care, all those kinds of things. But then there was a post about understanding your credit score. And it really jarred to me. I was like, what? Why is she talking about credit scores and all of that kind of thing? Because it didn't seem to fit in with what everything else that she was talking about. And I think this is a trap that some of us can fall into, is like almost wanting to show our breadth of knowledge, right? But like, I'm not going to go to someone if I've got trouble with my finances who works predominantly with people on like exercise and self-care and nutrition. I'm not going to go and get their help on finances and budgeting, right? Like it just, like I want to go to someone who only knows about that and is an expert in that, right? So the question I had is like, why is she talking about this? It doesn't fit in. So it immediately raises questions, right? Have you ever experienced that where you're like, why is this person talking about that? It doesn't seem to fit in. And for them, they're trying to showcase like, I can help you with this, and I can help you with this, and I can help you with this. But it's almost taking away from their expert status, right? So this is one of the things that I want to talk about. So knowing your zone of genius, right? That's what I want you to really like focus in on and go like, what is your area of genius, right? Because I know as coaches, a lot of the time in our coach training, and like we're people that want to help people, like we want to help people on all kinds of different things. And on some level we can, right? But what I really want you to think about is like, how can I stand out as a leader and an expert in my zone of genius? Where can I deliver the most value to people and stay in that topic? So as another example, like sometimes I have discovery calls with people and I do say like, I'm not the right coach for this. Like it just doesn't feel like my area of expertise. So as an example, I had someone who wanted to do more consulting to corporate businesses, as like grow an agency that consulted to corporate businesses. And I was like, do you know what? That's actually outside my area of expertise. I could probably help you. And, there definitely is alignment with the kind of work I do, but I don't feel like I'm like the best placed person to help with that. And it's outside my zone of genius, right? So we get permission to do that, because could I help her? Yeah, probably. But like, would she benefit more from working from someone who specifically does that? The answer I felt in my heart of hearts was probably yes. So like, be prepared to like only act in your zone of genius and help people see that. And I think that's part of the fear, right, that comes up, where people are like, oh, but I might be turning away work. Or like, for the girl I saw on Instagram, but like, what if someone wants me to help with their budget? Like, I want to make myself available for that. And it actually, I think, detracts, where people are like, I don't even know what she's known for, right? Like if someone's like, I don't know what she's known for, why would I go to her? That's not helping you, stand out as an expert and have clients beating down your door. Whereas if she was like, I just help people with nutrition and sleep and self-care, and like that's what I need to like help with, I'm going to be beating down her door because she stands out as someone that speaks to that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Does that kind of resonate? Has that been something you've experienced yourself? Have you noticed that you want to showcase all the different areas that you could work with people on, and realizing that it's maybe taking you away from your zone of genius? Another example, for example, is I connected to people in this group recently about running retreats, like running a retreat. And like, I'm comfortable to say like, running retreats is not my area of expertise. Like I've never done it before. I don't know all the ins and outs of running a retreat. So like if someone said to me like, can you help me set up my retreat? I'll be like, well, yes, I can help with the marketing and the messaging and all of that. But I literally don't know the ins and outs of running a retreat. So I'd rather connect you with someone I know who runs retreats and helps guide people on retreats, so you can work with them on that, right? Like, does that make sense? So Kristen says, totally, I'm 100% guilty of this, LOL. Lol. Yeah, and I think when I started, I was too, because I was like, I can help people on all these different things. But what I've seen is that expert status, like beating down your door. If I need brain surgery, I want to work with a brain surgeon. If I need help with a retreat, I want to work with someone who like understands the ins and outs of retreats. If I need help in starting and growing a coaching business, I want to work with someone who works on that, right? So it's just so helpful. And the second part, like, so the first part of that is just knowing your zone of genius. So what do you want to be known for? What's the one thing you want to help people with? What do you want people beating down your door for? Is it retreats, helping people, mentoring people through setting up retreats? Is it helping people to start and grow a business? Is it helping people scaling like an agency type of business beyond being a solopreneur and like bringing on staff? Like, these are all different levels of things you could help people with, right? Is it that you want to help people with gut health? Is it that you want to help people with, I don't know, whatever it is, like specifically helping mums? Like, that's been an example that comes through this week with like, refinding and recreating their identity. So Kristen's saying, I'm getting better, niching down all the time. And that's exactly right. Like, I think it's just a process, right? A refinement process where you get to see, as you work with different people, you get to see more clearly what that specific zone of genius is, right? So that's really helpful. So Sally says, finding a zone of genius, simple, not always easy. Bang on. All of the principles, like, I think of business are literally quite simple, but that does never mean they're easy. And it's the same with this, right? It doesn't mean it's easy just because it's simple. Like if it was easy, everyone would be doing it and everyone would be creating epic success, and we'd never hear the stories of people struggling in certain areas of their business, right? Because more and more, as I step back and witness things, I'm like, more and more it is really simple, but never do I say like it's easy. It can feel like it's growing in ease, and certain aspects of your business can feel easy, but getting out of your own way, oh my God, hardest part, hardest thing to work on so that you can show up and keep it simple. Our brain is often like, it can't be that simple. Surely there's got to be more to this. I must make it more complicated. Hands up who's experienced that. I know most people probably have. So the second thing I want to talk about is, so knowing your zone of genius and identifying, really asking that question, like, what do I want to be known for? What do I want to stand out for, right? So for example, just like what sprung into my head then is like Melissa Ambrosini. Some of you may know her, some of you may not, but like she stands out for like mastering your mean girl, like your inner voice. Like that's what she's known for, right? So like, what's a thing you want to be known for? Then what you get to do with that to really cultivate this expert status, and this is what I've been talking with a lot of people about on the content intensive recently, is focusing on depth rather than breadth. So depth in a narrow field of topics that specifically relate to the work you do, the challenge your ideal clients are facing, the kind of problems that you're solving, and going deep on them. So as soon as you go deep on it, just like the brain surgeon, like they can go deep on the brain and probably tell us all these different quirks about how the brain works and how you do surgery on that and blah, blah, blah. But then if you ask them about, I don't know, the bones in your arm, like they would know it, but like they couldn't go into that same level of depth, and we wouldn't expect them to, right? Because they're an expert in brains. So Sally's saying so true, amazing, so glad that's resonating. So what I encourage my clients to do, and even if you are sort of watching my content closely, focusing on depth and showcasing your depth on certain topics and exploring like a smaller number of topics through a whole bunch of different angles is how you showcase your expertise. And that's how you start to stand out as someone who is like the go-to person for this thing, the go-to person for coaches, the go-to person for gut health, the go-to person for finding your identity as a mum, the go-to person for helping mums with newborns move through that. Like, for example, that's actually a really good example. Like imagine someone who works with mums, right? And you could work with mums in all different areas. You could work with mums with newborns, with toddlers, with school-age children, with high school children, right? And so someone could be like quite general saying, I help mums. It's going to be quite challenging them for speaking to the exact pain points that mums are experiencing, because we know the pain points, or I imagine, because I've only got kids up until the age of just under 5, the challenge points I'm experiencing in my life now are probably completely different to the challenge points a mum of a teenager is facing, right? So imagine if I saw 2 people side by side who help mums, and one's specifically zoning in on like mums with kids starting school and the toddler years and like the challenges facing that, versus someone who's kind of talking about the teenage years and the school years and the toddler years. Like if I'm struggling with something specifically to where my children are at, I'm naturally going to be drawn to the person who's speaking to where I'm at now versus the person that's showcasing stuff and some of it is and some of it isn't relevant to me. That's part of the niching process. And I know it scares a lot of people, but it actually allows you to really draw in and speak to your people where they're at. And that's where people are beating down your door, right? That's where you get that expert status. And someone said to me on a call this week, like, I love how you assume, like I must have said something. And I always assume like if someone's speaking to me or if they're speaking to one of you guys, like they do want to work with a coach, right? So you want to stand out as the coach they need to work with based on your zone of genius, right? So if they see 2 people doing a similar thing, they're going to resonate with the one who's showcasing depth in the area that they're struggling with. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that's helpful. They're kind of the 2 key things I really wanted you guys to take away, was knowing your zone of genius and really going in on that by just knowing what's the thing I do want to be known for. And from there, focusing on depth. So if you're talking about exercise and nutrition, you don't need to show that you do know stuff about finance and credit scores and that kind of thing, because someone who's struggling with that is going to want to go to someone who's the brain surgeon of credit scores and finance and that kind of thing, right? So allow yourself the permission with your content, instead of going like, what are all the 58 different topics I could talk on? What are the top 5 or 6 topics I can talk on, and go really deep and showcase all the knowledge I have that's relevant to my clients on these topics. Just allow that to sit, and like the power of that to start to compound, right? Because then, for example, a woman I have never spoken to, never had a DM with, but just observed her content. She focuses on one specific system called, I think, Dubsado, right? All her content's about Dubsado. I've never spoken to her, don't know her personally. She's on the other side of the world, but I just see it like she's always talking about like how to use Dubsado. Then one day I saw someone ask a question about Dubsado, and I commented, you should speak to this girl on this, and like tagged her. So like she stands out as an expert in Dubsado, which I don't even use. It's kind of like a CRM and a billing system. She has gone in on that so much that someone that has never spoken to her and never worked with her, never experienced her, I'm now referring her as like a Dubsado expert. Like, can you see how crazy that is? And like, that's what happened. So yeah, I saw someone asking about that, and I was like, oh, speak to this girl. She's got all the expertise on Dubsado, right? So you want that to be happening for you. So if someone's in a group and being like, I need help with gut health, I'm looking for an Ayurvedic practitioner, I'm whatever, people are going like, oh, the go-to person for that is Kristen. Oh, the go-to person for that's Rhiannon. Oh, the go-to person for that's Sally. Like, imagine how powerful that would be if other people are going like, oh, we're having a conversation and you need to speak to Kristen. Oh, we're having a conversation, you need to speak to Rhiannon. Like, that's where, when you stand out, clients are starting to beat down your door. People are referring you all the time, and you're operating in your zone of genius. So not only are you getting those referrals, but your clients are getting better results, because you're not trying to be a jack of all trades, right? You're getting to showcase your depth and, you know, do the work that you are the best at, right? It's powerful. It's so helpful. And it's just something that's come up probably like 4 times in the last week. So I thought it was an important conversation to have. So Rhiannon says it makes total sense. Sally's loving it. So I'm so glad that helped, guys. Something to go away and think about. What do you want to be known for? What are the top maybe 3 to 5 topic areas that you really want to hone in on, and bringing your content around that? Now, it doesn't mean that you never get to talk about any other topics with your clients. Like, I kind of have my core areas that I talk about in my content. What I talk about with my clients covers a whole range of different things, but you just begin to stand out as the person in that area, and then you work with your clients to get that result. And we all know in coaching, there's so many other factors that play into it. So I'm glad that's helped. I'd love to, see what you guys want to be known for. I'd love to hear the comment here on There's the Noise, like it's time to wrap up. What's the thing you want to be known for? Share it here in the comments. Let us know so we can start looking out for people to refer to you. What's the thing you stand out for in your industry, in your niche? So the noise has started. It's time for me to go. I hope you have a fabulous Friday, and I look forward to seeing what you will be known for, what you are known for, and we'll be back again soon. Bye.